Joe Biden, we were talking about earlier, didn't necessarily prioritize the black vote. I had Chuck Roach on multiple times through the course of the election to try to plead to him to do something in terms of listening to the concerns of various Latino communities and what they're interested in and all that. But now these runoffs aren't gonna be explicitly about Joe Biden quite as much. You're gonna have Warnock and Ossoff trying to get people to vote. I think it's likely that Stacey Abrams will probably be involved with that. Now, the way that Joe Biden could be involved is whether Joe Biden delivers anything could hinge on how those runoff elections go. From the Republican point of view, they're gonna put as much resource into that as possible to stop Biden from doing literally anything. But I would have to imagine that Joe Biden will go and campaign because he needs those seats. If Donald Trump has lost at that point and accepts that he's lost, I don't think he gives a damn what happens in Georgia or what happens to Senate Republicans. I don't know that he'll necessarily go there and do rallies and everything. So with all of that and additional context that you can provide, what do you think about the Dems' chances of winning one or both of those races come January?
I mean, to be frank, I have kind of a limited. I've looked at this in a limited capacity, looking at the Georgia Senate races, but just from kind of being familiar with Ossoff's campaign previously, where he lost, I think that there is going to be some energy around. I think there's going to be some energy around, the electoral arm of getting, more of a liberal or progressive agenda in Congress. I think people were probably a little bit, you had high voter turnout in 2018, but I think people are going to be more energized because of the time that we're in right now. Again, where you can get somebody like Joe Biden who has not spoken to any of these concerns in an adequate degree, where you still have very high turnout. I think it's just going to depend on people's turnout. And I do think that they both have relatively strong chances. We are also aware that Georgia is prone to voter suppression. This is an issue that I faced growing up in Georgia, where I had some of my first opportunities to vote. It was very clear that more liberal counties had experienced bouts of voter suppression. Even when I voted for Barack Obama in 2008, I was, a spry, right before we got like all the brunt of the Great Recession and had all this hope. We have hour-long lines voting for Barack Obama. So Georgia is prone to these kind of shenanigans. And so I just hope that there is a strong apparatus. But as far as answering your question, I know I can be long-winded. As far as answering your question, I do think that there are strong chances for them, given the state of politics right now and the fact that people are energized.
Yeah, potentially. I'm worried about the suppression as well. Obviously, in that 2018 Kemp Abrams race seemed pretty important in determining that outcome. And I agree with you about Kemp's stance on COVID. I think he said, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, feel free to fact check it, everybody watching this, but I think about a month into the pandemic, after the lockdowns, he said something about being surprised that, wait, people without symptoms can spread the disease? He hadn't known that, like a month in. We will never know how many extra lives were lost because we had Kemp instead of Abrams as the governor of that state, but it's a number greater than zero, unfortunately. Maybe with these runoffs, we'll have an opportunity to right that a little bit. But yeah, assuming that Biden wins, assuming Trump eventually concedes, the eyes of the nation will go to Georgia, and I think a gargantuan sum of money is going to be spent over the next 2 months there. It is going to be amazing to watch. Now,
and to see Georgia become, potentially away from the stronghold. Newt Gingrich is from Georgia. We had, I don't know if you guys remember this guy. Was Johnny Isaacson? I don't know if y'all remember him, but we've had some like really far right extreme folks who set the stage for some of the like delusional far right, the normalization of this far right ideology that we're seeing right now. So I'm looking forward to at least loosening that stranglehold, until it can become, even more far left. That I would,
Well, I think it becoming more far left, that'd be great. It seems like it's going that direction. Not being delusional, that's gonna be a little bit tougher. Of course, at least one QAnon candidate won in Georgia, another lost but was running. And even Kemp, I mean, he was the guy with the campaign ads of him trying to scare away a guy who was trying to date his daughter with a shotgun. Like, American politics is trippy, man. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.